Thanks, Sophie. Hello, you're watching Wales Today. I'm Nick Savini. The headlines. We reveal the 20-mile-an-hour road in Merthyr Tydfil, where more people have been caught speeding than anywhere else. More than 8,000 in 10 months.
They've had me for twice, since it went to 20.
Where they used to go in the maybe 24, 25, they're now getting caught. And I can understand why people are getting fed up. It's costing them a lot of money, you know.
They were caught by this speed camera, or rather, the speed camera that was here until it mysteriously disappeared around 3 weeks ago.
Also on the programme tonight.
Lorries parked up and frustrated passengers. Holyhead Port is still closed nearly a week following Storm Dara.
He's the former postmaster from Anglesey who wrongly went to jail in the IT scandal. Now, Noel Thomas tells us how he's finally got all of his compensation. Dylan Thomas was a regular there and it survived a bombing raid in the war. We look back at 100 years of the BBC radio studios in Swansea.
Hello, in tonight's sport, TNS's European adventure continues and...
He's just like always encouraging us to try reach our full potential. He's a great coach, really, and glad to have him.
They're his biggest fan tonight. We'll reveal this year's BBC Cymru Wales Unsung Hero.
Good evening. It is nearly a year since enforcement action started on 20-mile-an-hour roads. And tonight we can reveal our most in-depth breakdown yet of the number of speeding offences and the locations. Now, one extraordinary fact is that just 2 roads in Merthyr Tydfil and Flintshire account for a quarter of all the 20-mile-an-hour speeding offences right across Wales. Overall, since January, 77,000 motorists have been caught. The average speed of the offence was 28 miles an hour. Latest figures also suggest nearly half of drivers are going 25 miles an hour or more on the roads. Our reporter Yola Chung has the story.
When 30 became 20, the aim was quite simply to make Wales's roads safer. The changes certainly weren't welcomed by all, with many motorists calling for the policy change to be reversed. But more than 15 months on, are people at least sticking to the new limit? This is Swansea Road in Merthyr Tydfil, where over 8,000 people were caught speeding in just 10 months, more than any other road in Wales. They were caught by this speed camera, or rather, the speed camera that was here until it mysteriously disappeared around 3 weeks ago.
They've had me for twice, since it went to 20. Because before that it was, well, 30 miles an hour.
I personally don't care whether it's 20 or 30. No, I'm old. I drive slow anyway. So, but yeah, I think a 30 was okay.
People that are local, it's a shortcut through, so where they used to go in the maybe 24, 25, they're now getting caught. And I can understand why people are getting fed up. It's costing them a lot of money, you know.
The local councillor says there have been concerns about incidents in the past, including one tragedy earlier this year.
A young girl got killed in a car crash. No fault of her own. She was a passenger in the car, but the car was driving dangerously along this road. And local residents will tell you as well, there's traffic coming through here, 50, 60 miles an hour. We'll speak to the local residents, consult with them. And I think if, we can have some, speed bumps, chicanes put in place to slow down the traffic, I think they'll support the 30 miles an hour.
It's not the only road in Wales seeing large numbers break the 20 miles per hour limit. In Flintshire, nearly 7,200 motorists were caught speeding on the A5104 at Pontabodkin near Pennyford this year. Across Wales, over 77,000 drivers have been caught speeding in 20 miles per hour areas since January. Transport for Wales data also shows that almost half of motorists are still going at least 25 miles an hour on these roads. The Welsh Government are currently reviewing whether the 20 miles per hour limit should stay on some roads, especially on routes away from residential areas.
I think that is the right way to do it. Listening to the local people, they're telling us that this is not an appropriate road. And
do you expect many roads to change then?
Well, I think it'll vary from council to council.
Early figures suggest that since the introduction of the policy, serious road casualties have dropped, although it's too early to say whether this is a long-term trend. But it's quite clear the frustration around 20 miles per hour remains.
Yola Chung reporting there. A week ago, we had the first warnings about Storm Dara, and the effects are still being felt. Last night, we told you about the residents in West Wales without power. And tonight, it is the port of Holyhead, the second busiest in Britain, which is still closed because of damage caused in the storm. Some lorry drivers have told us they've been waiting in their vehicles for almost a week. Well, our reporter Carwyn Jones is in Holyhead for us tonight. Carwyn.
Good evening, Nick. Yes, and a bit of breaking news in the last few minutes. Confirmation has arrived that Holyhead Port here won't reopen for at least another week. Now, the statement from the port reads, at this point, it's estimated that the berths at the port will reopen for ferry traffic on Thursday, the 19th of December at the earliest. Now, I've been speaking with many frustrated lorry drivers during the day today that have been stuck in their vehicles, unable to cross to Ireland here since last Friday. They were unhappy with the situation, saying that they had to use local supermarket toilets. Now, we do know that the port here was closed following Storm Dara, where damage was caused following that storm. And here's a bit more reaction following the news of the closure of the port here in Holyhead. Dara battering parts of Wales, and a red weather warning that was issued, an indication of what was facing us. Almost a week since that warning, things haven't returned to normal. The port here in Holyhead saw some damage following Storm Dara, and now the second busiest port in the UK is at a standstill, with many people frustrated. How does it feel being still here and not being able to cross then?
Not so good, not so good. But still waiting here. Yeah, still waiting, yeah.
Have you had any updates in regards to when can you cross then?
Not information at the moment, because port is closed.
And with no sailings, some have concerns before the Christmas holidays.
The extra complication in all of this is that we will see passenger traffic really beginning to ramp up into next week. And it's in both directions. So it's, people coming home for Christmas, whether to Wales in the UK or into Ireland. And so there's going to be an increasingly large demand on that space on the ferry.
It's extremely important that once this port is ready to go, that it's done in a safe way, and making sure that the staff and everyone is safe in reopening the port, and actually helping as well, because we know that it's a busy time of year. The flow of goods this time of year it was higher, so we need to make sure that the lorries can move as smoothly as possible.
It's about to get busier with a Christmas getaway, and the hopes by many people travelling is that the port can reopen and things can get back to normal. So just to recap, Nick, it's estimated that the berths here at Holyhead Port will reopen for ferry traffic on Thursday, the 19th of December at the earliest by now. So it's definitely a worrying time for many people travelling just before the Christmas holidays, Nick.
Indeed. Carwyn Jones in Holyhead for us. Thanks very much. He was one of the sub-postmasters who wrongly went to jail in the Horizon IT scandal. And now Noel Thomas has finally received his full compensation. But Mr Thomas, who's from Gaerwen on Anglesey, says he won't be celebrating and will continue to campaign for other sub-postmasters affected so they too can get their cash. He's been speaking to Gary Owen.
Noel Thomas, who's now 77, was wrongly convicted of false accounting whilst working for the post office after the Horizon computer system failed. In 2006, he was sentenced to 9 months in prison, but in 2021, his name was cleared. An emotional embrace with his children outside the Royal Courts of Justice marked the moment he'd been hoping for 16 years.
Been totally hideous, hasn't it, Gary? To be quite honest. Why has it taken so long? Because we've been in denial for years, and it took 2 court cases, and then there's the inquiry now, and hopefully a very good Welshman from the south, Sir Wyn, will come back on our side.
Though he settled his case with the post office, Noel Thomas says he intends to carry on fighting to ensure compensation for other former sub-postmasters who suffered because of the scandal. He fully supports Sir Alan Bates from Llandudno, who has set a deadline of March 2025 for sub-postmasters' compensation claims over the Horizon scandal to be settled.
I would be 100% behind him, not for myself, but for the rest of the people that have been involved.
A UK government spokesperson said it recognises the immeasurable suffering of victims and is settling claims at a faster rate than ever before. Whilst a spokesperson for the Post Office said they apologise unreservedly to victims and their loved ones. They go on to say they're doing all they can to transform the organisation and support those impacted to find closure. Over the years, many of those involved in the scandal have become close friends of Noel Thomas.
I'm on the phone with about half a dozen who I've made very good friends with. And, you know, they've lost property. They've lost everything, to be quite honest, like myself.
Noel Thomas says there's no cause for celebration tonight, and his fight, and many others like him, will continue.
Still to come before 7. We're at the rugby club where all will be revealed in a few minutes as we find out the winner of this year's BBC Cymru Wales's Unsung Hero Award. Not many radio studios can boast having Dylan Thomas as a regular, but the BBC studios in Swansea can, and it is exactly 100 years since the first radio broadcast from there. Like much of the city, it suffered a devastating bombing raid in the Second World War, but went on to play a vital role in covering the events and the lives of people in Swansea. Our reporter Alan Thomas has been looking at the great history of the Alexandra Road studios.
December 1924 was a notable month in Swansea. The All Blacks beat the Welsh rugby team at St Helens, avenging their famous defeat at the beginning of the century. And a few weeks later, the wireless came to town from a small studio above a shop. The first broadcast was at 7:30 in the evening on December the 12th, and by all accounts, there was quite a reaction amongst local people.
They were very proud people in Swansea to have this new technology. I mean, we must remember, as I say, it's very early days of wireless broadcasting, and to have the BBC in Swansea was quite a thing.
Swansea-born Dylan Thomas was among the regulars broadcasting from the studios starting in the 1930s.
The one story about Dylan Thomas, he should have recorded his first programme there in 1937, Living with the Poet. And he failed to do it because, for a simple reason, he missed the train from London.
The studios were among the many buildings in Swansea destroyed by German bombs during World War II, with BBC staff decamping to Carmarthen for a few years.
I also thought the BBC in Swansea, that building was really important for a number of different things, because it just gave the BBC an opportunity to interact with a completely different audience. You know, because if we were based there, we'd live there, we'd bring characters from our locality, we'd have local stories. If you don't have people based in a community, how are you going to find those stories?
Oh, sweet memories, I must admit, because we had many of our guests coming from the Swansea Valley, typical Valley people. That was a magical time, I think. And we even had tea and coffee from proper china cups and saucers, which was unheard of.
Over the decades, Swansea has earned a place in Welsh broadcasting history, serving the people of South West Wales and beyond. And it all started 100 years ago today.
Great bit of history there. Now it's that time when we couldn't possibly go through a programme without trying to put you in the Christmas mood. And what better way to do it than show a group of children preparing a festive meal for older people in their community. And the young chefs in Llanelli had a special guest. Not Santa, but the First Minister instead. Here's Sarah David.
In Llanelli, these children have been hard at work.
We have just been prepping ready for Christmas dinners and stuff because we need 22 people to feed here at the cafe.
Oh, that's a lot of people, isn't it? You've been really busy.
And one of them is lactose intolerant, so that makes it even a bit harder.
Yeah. Are you excited to see people enjoying your food?
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm excited to make them happy. Some people can be lonely on Christmas, so we can try to cheer them up.
Do you think today will cheer them up?
Yeah, definitely.
From pigs in blankets to stuffing balls, a full dinner was made with the help of the charity Cig yn y Bobl.
Cig yn y Bobl is a not-for-profit organisation that teaches children to cook from scratch and about healthy eating, something that's missing from schools, according to the project.
In the Welsh Government's budget this week, over £600 million was dedicated to healthcare. But according to the founder of the project, a slice of that money should be given to schools.
I really think government's got to look again at where it spends some of the public health budget, get more money into schools around food and activity, and you'll see the rewards in a smaller bill for the NHS.
After a long morning of cooking, dinner is served with a surprise guest.
Well, this is one of our warm hubs, and the Welsh Government has made sure this winter that there are warm hubs all across the nation to make sure that people have places to go where they can come together, because whilst Christmas is a wonderful time for many families, we've got to acknowledge that it is a very lonely time for others. So it is our responsibility as a community, as a government, as a nation, to make sure that they have places where they feel welcome and that they can celebrate Christmas along with the rest of us.
And after the feast, what's the verdict?
Absolutely fabulous. Enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. A little bit spicy things on it, which I didn't know what it was, but it put flavour on it. Really nice.
We come here every week, and it is about community and friendship. Yeah.
What was your favourite part of the meal? Who knows what Santa will bring this year, but the children here have certainly given locals a Christmas to remember.
Looked good, didn't it? Right, let's get some festive football. And TNS's European adventure continues tonight, and Thomas is here.
You know, Nick, they were written off by many, but they still have a chance of reaching the knockout stages with 2 games to go. Greek giants Panathinaikos are the visitors tonight, and a crowd around 5,000 is expected, the biggest home gate for a Welsh league club for almost 20 years. Well, reporter Chris Wathen is in Shrewsbury for us where the game is taking place. So, Chris, what hope of an upset tonight?
Well, there are plenty here hoping that can happen, Thomas, getting their souvenirs of what they hope will be a memorable night. But let's not forget the new Saints, the Welsh champions, have made history just by reaching this stage, the first Welsh league side to reach the group stage of a European competition. But they want to go further. They want to break more new ground. And a result tonight, well, that can help them do that going into their final game against bottom seeds Celje in Slovenia next week. But to do that, to beat Panathinaikos, one of the iconic names in European football, well, that would be up there with one of the great results of Welsh sides in European competition. Let's put it into some context. In 1971, Panathinaikos were playing the European Cup final against Johan Cruyff's Ajax. Well, TNS, they were Llansan Ffraidd playing the Montgomeryshire Amateur League 2nd Division. Nevertheless, plenty coming into the game tonight believe they can at least cause Panathinaikos a threat, and that includes manager Craig Harrison.
We've got a threat ourselves without a shadow of a doubt with multiple players, starting players coming off the bench. You know, now we've got a full squad, we've got a great variety and options of people starting and coming off the bench. So, you know, it just makes my job doubly hard, which I've said plenty of times before.
Well, Panathinaikos still a side packed full of internationals, including 2 in the Greece side that beat England at Wembley just a few weeks back. But they're only 1 point ahead of TNS in the standings, so it should be a fascinating contest. Craig Harrison also said people would laugh at him if he had said they'd go into their final 2 games still with a chance of making the knockout stages. Well, no one's laughing now, are they? It's promising to be a fantastic night, an incredible atmosphere, 6,000 with every ticket sold. The question is, Thomas, is whether the new Saints can create further history, and will we be having a debate whether TNS against Panathinaikos is up there with Cardiff City, Real Madrid, Swansea, Valencia, Wrexham, Porto as one of the great results for Welsh sides in Europe.
Yeah, that would be pretty special. Chris Wathen, enjoy the game. Thank you very much. Every year, we recognise someone who goes the extra mile to help others get involved in sports. This year's unsung hero is a coach who helped set up Caerau Ely Mini and Junior Rugby in Cardiff and now helps 200 players in one of the most deprived areas of the country. Liam McKay, who served time in prison, says rugby helped him onto the right path.
Rugby made such a positive difference to my life. I was in prison in custody in 2011, sort of fell into the wrong crowd, made sure that I used my time in custody positively and come out the other side. Noticed a gap in the market for alternative to crime for some of the young people and turned to rugby. It's what I knew I wanted to make a difference.
And since 2017, Liam McKay has helped more than 200 young people through sport. In all weathers, there's no doubting his commitment. Tonight, Storm Dara has swept in, so this is Plan B.
Nothing makes me madder, really, than thinking, what are the alternatives these children and families are going to be doing? There's 25 children here tonight. I've had an amazing experience having a run around with their friends. Nice, warm, safe environment. The record was 16.
He's taught me, like, everything about how to be a scrum half, like, where to go in the scrums, like, once a ruck is formed, where to pass it out, and just everything I know as a scrum half. Liam's helped me loads. I wouldn't have been able to achieve my achievement for Cardiff. Liam's helped me come along quite since I was 4, like last night.
If you have to, go over, do a bounce, and come back. Do a bounce, do a bounce. Yeah, that's it, my man, you got it.
Always encouraging us to reach our full potential. I love the contact, the tackling, and the joy it brings me. He has, like, positive energy, and, like, he's firm about stuff. He's a great coach, really, and glad to have him.
The parents are too.
It's another bounce, then we come back over, OK?
At this club, it's about more than just rugby.
We keep our fees relatively low, being that we live in one of the most deprived communities in Cardiff, if not Wales. It's just amazing that children can access these sort of facilities on the doorstep. We have a boot bank where we encourage sort of donations of all sizes of rugby boots, just so we can support our players without thinking about that additional cost. We don't have a clubhouse, but we have a shipping container where every Sunday we feed all of our children without any cost at all.
Off the mark, go, go, go! So Liam is just finishing training, just through there. We've got the award ready. Let's go and surprise him. Evening, everybody. Sorry to keep you waiting. Liam, because of your years of dedication, of tireless work, helping these children over the years, I've got a special award for you. You've been named this year's BBC Cymru Wales Unsung Hero. All yours. Liam, I've got to ask you, how do you feel?
It's quite overwhelming, really, and just like to dedicate this probably to all our volunteers, Vicky and Joanne, and everyone who stuck with us through the start of what we did and hopefully into the future.
Pretty proud club there. And Liam is in contention for the UK Unsung Hero Award. The winner will be announced on BBC Sports Personality of the Year on Tuesday here on BBC One Wales and iPlayer. Nick.
Thomas, thank you. And finally, most 10-year-olds spend their Friday nights at home or with their friends. But tomorrow night, Evan from Bethesda has something more exciting planned. Evan, whose stage name is Evan Electro, is a DJ, and tomorrow he'll take on his biggest show as support act for the professional DJ Judge Jules. Nia Kerris has the story.
Is this Wales's youngest DJ? At 10 years old, Evan Williams only started on the decks 2 years ago, but his career is moving at record speed. And tomorrow he'll be supporting rave legend Judge Jules when he plays at Neuadd Ogwen in Bethesda and Gwynedd.
I got into it all when I was about 8 years old, and I was heavily influenced by Marshmello and my mum and dad, who had shown me all this 90s music, helping me discover artists like Fatboy Slim, Faithless, and I just kind of thought, that looks really cool. I would like to give that a little go. So for Christmas, I asked for some decks.
From his first gig at a family birthday bash, he now performs regularly, including at his primary school in Llanllechid.
For the Halloween school event, which was incredible, I had about 6 gigs that day, which was very tiring, but I enjoyed it so much.
We're very lucky as a school because any sort of
gigs or any discos or anything like that at the school, well, we just ask Evan, and he's very happy to go on the stage with all his gear, and he's there, and all the pupils love to dance and move to his songs and everything.
For me to be happy and dancing up on the stage and see everyone else in the crowd happy and dancing just feels amazing.
As well as his big gig tomorrow, he'll be starting an international radio show in the new year. And what then for DJ Evan Electro?
I have big dreams, big festivals like Tomorrowland and Glastonbury. Definitely one of the ones on my list was to warm up for Judge Jules. I'm going to tick that off the list now, yeah.
Plenty of plans and talent at the start of what could be a very exciting journey for this young DJ.
Right, let's get the weather. Derek is here. Hi, how's it looking?
Nick, we're going to see a few changes in our weather over the weekend, but in the meantime, we keep the status quo. It's quiet and settled thanks to high pressure, plenty of cloud and some anticyclonic gloom as well. This was the scene in Llangollen in Denbighshire this afternoon. Rather grey there, some mist and drizzle, but Saundersfoot in Pembrokeshire fared better, dry and a bit brighter there this afternoon with a high of 8 Celsius. On to this evening and tonight, you can see plenty of cloud, thick enough in places for a little rain and drizzle, some mist and fog on the hills, and no frost tonight, temperatures everywhere staying above freezing, the low around 4 Celsius. Tomorrow then, once again, we have plenty of cloud, grey and murky in places with spots of drizzle. Some dry weather as well. However, some light rain will reach parts of the west mid to late afternoon. Temperatures a shade higher than today. 9 Celsius in Bangor is 48 Fahrenheit with hardly a breath of wind. On to Saturday, a slightly breezier day, brighter too. We'll see some sunny spells with a scattering of showers. Temperatures around the seasonal average, 8 Celsius is 46 Fahrenheit. On into Sunday, high pressure over the Bay of Biscay. That means milder south to southwesterly winds. Those winds will be moist with plenty of cloud, some low cloud too, a little light rain and drizzle. Some dry weather as well, with temperatures rising above average. 12 Celsius is 54 Fahrenheit. A dry start, but turning more unsettled by the middle of the week with some rain and stronger winds. Nick.
Eric, thank you very much. That's Wales Today. I'll be back after the 10 o'clock news. Hope you can join me then. Until then, have a good evening.